We are back in the black hole of real estate, and I received a question about building an addition onto an existing home and what that would look like and what would it do to increase the value. This is your host, Ron Wysakarski, for the black hole of real estate. Home additions are something that are not as common as it has been over the years, and a couple of reasons for it. I think the first thing is just that the time and cost of an addition is such that most people just decide to sell the home they're in and move. But when you're going to add square footage, what would you add? What would it look like? And what are the things that, if you were really mapping the whole project out, what would you want to look for? I would say that if you're going to add space to a home, like a whole addition, a bedroom would absolutely add value to it, because it could take a 3-bedroom to a 4, or a 4 to a 5-bedroom property. That would absolutely add some valuable space for someone that needed 5 bedrooms that couldn't fit into a 4, for instance, and they wanted the 5th bedroom. Absolutely would make a lot of sense, and that would likely save a lot of money and time as far as selling a home, paying off the loan, paying off the commissions, and all the closing costs go with it. Buying and paying some more fees just to get a home that has one extra room. So you really could look like at that as a win. Now you could also, many people will add a bonus room, and it could be everything from like the sports bar look and the pool tables and the video games, or it could be a home theater. Could also be a workout area, or so many other things. And as you add those, you would have to ask yourself, would the next owner of the house, your end user, whoever you're doing this for besides yourself, like the next owner, would they appreciate this, big space for the same reasons that you have it there? Because while many people would like that bonus space, they may look at the cost of the home and say, well, what I really need, if I had to pick between the bonus space and the bedroom, I think the bedroom is going to win out more times than the bonus space. And if you're super specific on it, let's say it's a big fitness room, maybe the next people aren't fitness buffs. Maybe they're not into the whole, maybe they don't drink alcohol. Maybe the sports bar look doesn't work for them. Or if they could care less about sports and you've got 10 TVs in there, well, that may not be the fit. Now, there's other things you could do with that space and repurpose it, but it could be a lot of space, and as much help as it could also be a hindrance. Now, as far as adding on a bedroom and the cost of it, the closest I would think to dollar for dollar return of adding a bedroom, that would be it. It'd be adding a bedroom. I think that's the closest to dollar for dollar return. Now, if you are looking at an additional living room space or a bonus room space, I think that would be a reasonably good return. Adding on a kitchen, revamping a kitchen, or if you got a very small kitchen, adding on a space maybe near the back of the house as it goes out with a walkway or something to a large yard, and you're adding a kitchen in the back or near it someplace. That might also add some value to the house. That might be really good. But then the configuration of what the kitchen used to be, what does that become? So it can make a house choppy. You could lose the flow, depending on what you do with that. So I think kitchens are more of renovations, or maybe taking out a wall than adding in like actual new space. You could absolutely add more garage space, and for the right person, a third. If there's a 2-car garage, now you've got room for a third, or a loft, or something above it. A studio apartment. Something that goes above that garage. I think that could be a win. Outbuilding out back, certainly could have more garage space, something for the toys, and the bikes and the motorcycles and the tractors and all that stuff. I mean, that could add space for the right person that would come along and buy it afterwards. But I keep walking back to it. It's like, if you're going to add this addition on, I got to say bedroom. I think it's going to be the best one and the most purposeful one that would attract attention down the road. Now, when we do this, you also need to think in terms of where it's going to go. How does it fit the profile of the house? Do you have the proper setbacks and the proper land to do it? And oh man, the roof line. If you're coming off a portion of the house where you're affecting the roof line, does it have its own separate roof? Are you having to reconfigure the current roof and possibly the current trusses, have them re-engineered to take on this area? I think that's something that really, really needs to be thought through, and I'm sure it's going to involve designing an engineer company to do this. You've also got the concerns. Is it going to be on a slab? Is it going to be built up on timbers? What does that look like? Because now you've got the concern of water, electricity, more windows and walkways, and all the things that go with that. So as you take on these projects, you're also having to extend the services, the utilities of the house. Does it have access? Does it affect the driveway in any way, shape, or form? Can you get to it? Does it make the yard small or seem odd? And again, there's so many of these that are tastefully done really, really well. And it's almost like it was part of the house from day one. I think those are the best ones. You've got the extra space, but if somebody walked in there, would they even know there was an addition put on? I think those are the ones that are done well. I think quite often what we find is, the home may have been done 5 or 10 or 20 years ago, and then you've got the brand new addition, which really is a separate space, but it's unlike the rest of the house. Does it mean that you've got to change out, find the flooring to match what's in the house, or if you're putting different flooring in, now you're adding an additional flooring type, and now you may have several. It sometimes makes the addition look like an afterthought. And as you begin to do this addition, does it cause you to have to renovate other parts of the house? And that may be a good thing. But if we're looking for dollar return, the more things that you have to do to the rest of the house to make it match the new space, or on the infrastructure side, bringing the utilities and all the other things that you would need to do to make that space functional, at least to have like electricity and things like that, then I believe you need to also look at those things and then decide for yourself, what is the amount of money you're willing to invest? What is the hope that you'll get back as far as increased value? And then when you weigh that all out, is that expense? Is that $50, $100, or $200,000? Is that compelling enough to spend that kind of money in the existing home? And I think this is where it changes for some people. I think they go down the path, let's put an addition on. And then as they go through the numbers and the design and the challenges and the trouble, like, you know what? We could probably go find a home that has everything we're looking for someplace else. And the outlay of cash is different than buying a home with a mortgage on it, unless you're getting an additional mortgage or an equity line to do this work. If you're actually coming out of pocket with cash, that could be a super big challenge to a lot of people, especially if you're moving from an investment account that is making money. These are the hidden costs and the hidden things. So if I was to help you see around corners a little bit, what is the cost acquisition of money? Is it cash, or is it going to be financing, which could increase, the amount? I mean, if you're spending $100,000, but you're doing it over 30 years, well, it might look like $200,000 by the end, much like your home loan. And if you're taking out of a market, stocks or bonds or wherever you might be taking it from, what about the interest on that? Because compounding that interest over 10 or 20 years, or whatever the time payment period would be, well, that could also be lost income to you and your family, because you don't have the income receipt and you don't have that cash flow available as your safety net. So it's just a lot to think about with the additions. I'm very much in favor of additions. What I'm not in favor of is someone starting down the path and getting a little bit frustrated and then stopping something that could be really good for them. You could easily do an addition. You could easily move. You can easily just kick the can down the road and not do anything. The thing with additions is just think about, is it just for you? Are you never moving? or is it a property you're going to move from in a couple of years, then you may not get as much bang for your buck at the point of sale, and you may not get the pure enjoyment for long enough to make it worth the while. So that's what I got for you today. We want to talk a little bit about additions. I hope this helped you if you're in that decision process to give you enough information to make a great decision. In the meantime, I'm working on my next topic. Send me your subscriptions. Go ahead and subscribe. Send me your ideas for our next episodes, and by all means, keep an eye on this market. It's going to do some interesting things over the next 12 months. This is your host, Ron Wojciechowski, for the Black Hole of Real Estate.